Welcome to the Central Kentucky Market Minute, your local weekly real estate update. I'm Kalen Studler, broker and owner of TransactionBroker.com Real Estate and president of Studler & Associates Incorporated Real Estate Appraisals. This show gives you a quick update of local housing market insight each week. Let's get started. As of August 8, 2025, Franklin County recorded 49 home sales over the past 30 days, an increase from 46 the previous week, reflecting a steady rise in summer market activity. There are 114 active residential listings on the market with an absorption rate of 42.98% and just 2.33 months of inventory, keeping conditions solidly in seller's market territory. Homes are selling quickly with an average of 16 days on market and a median of only 7 days, signaling that well-priced properties are attracting immediate offers. According to the Bluegrass Association of Realtors, the county's year-to-date average sale price has climbed 16.54%, while the median sale price is up 10.87% compared to this time last year, strong indicators of healthy, sustainable appreciation. According to Freddie Mac, the average 30-year fixed mortgage rate is 6.63%, and the 15-year fixed sits at 5.75%, marking a steady decline for the fourth week in a row. Locally, rates are averaging around 6.33%, depending on credit and loan programs. While rates have eased slightly, they remain well above the 2021 levels, making it more important than ever for buyers to shop around and secure pre-approval early to stay competitive. The Mortgage Bankers Association August 1st, 2025 survey reports purchase applications up 3% and refinance applications up 5%, resulting in an overall upward trend of 2% in mortgage activity. Before we jump into this week's tips and local events, I want to take a moment and share my conversation with Representative Dan Pfister. We talked about two recent pieces of legislation, House Bill 233 and House Bill 160, and how they could affect Kentucky's real estate market. Let's listen in. Joining me today is Kentucky State Representative Dan Pfister, who represents the 56th District, which includes part of Franklin County and Woodford County. And is that part of Jessamine or part of Fayette?
Part of Jessamine. I have all of Woodford, about half of Franklin County, and then portion of Jessamine, including the city of Wilmore.
All right. So he has in addition to his work in the legislature, Representative Pfister has a strong background in agricultural, business, and community service. He's been an advocate for policies that promote economic growth, protect property rights, and improve quality of life for Kentuckians. Today, we're going to talk about two bills passed in the 2025 session, House Bill 233 and House Bill 160, and what they mean for real estate, housing, and local communities. Representative Pfister, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So the first question I have is about House Bill 233. This bill updates certain real estate contract provisions, including the timeline for buyers to cancel under certain circumstances. Can you explain the key changes and why they were needed?
Well, it's a public protection bill. What it does is it allows homeowners. Well, let me back up. We've had a lot of natural disasters here lately. And with each one of them, historically, there's been a lot of contractors will come into the area. Some are not the best people in the world, if you will. We used to call them gypsies and what have you, that they come in, they try to fleece people. This bill helps protect those homeowners, is what it amounts to. It took some language in the KRS that was more specifically aimed at roofing companies and expanded that to any contractor that does insurance claims, casualty property loss, tree removal, that sort of thing. What it does is it gives the homeowner 5 days in which to cancel a contract with these contractors after they've been notified by their insurance company that the company will not pay for the claim. So they're not on the line and stuck if the insurance company's not going to back it up. It also keeps the contractor from filing a mechanics lien against the homeowner over a dispute with the insurance company. So as long as the homeowner is acting in good faith and the insurance company is doing what they're doing, the homeowner can't be held responsible for what the insurance company is not willing to pay for.
Well, that's
And it's
definitely some good protection, especially not being able to file a mechanics lien because that
right
that
now,
just
now the contractor can still file a mechanics lien if if the guy has him come in and fix his driveway or something unrelated to an insurance claim.
right.
But for the specific insurance claim, they can't file against that. And then finally, it keeps the enforcement of this law under the Attorney General's office, but it also adds a civil penalty of $5,000 for each occurrence against the contractor for any bad acts that he does like that.
And really, this I know this really is kind of geared towards contractors, but this kind of affects the real estate process because the way I understand this, and correct me if I'm wrong, that would apply to a real estate contract for purchase or sale, or is that incorrect?
Not, not my understanding. This is strictly has to do with casualty loss and an insurance type claim.
All right.
I could be wrong, but that's the way I've read it.
Yeah, it's uh, definitely that's why we have guys like you in there. Uh, Sometimes these bills, they get all convoluted and they make changes this year and changes next year and take out things and
Yeah, and amendments come and go, and they can pop up in a split second.
right.
And yeah, everything's subject to change until it's signed. So,
So I had on Representative Tipton for the Anderson County episode not too long ago, and as far as House Bill 160, and I think you might, I don't, he said this was already taking place, like in Versailles and Woodford County. You guys have really kind of went after this. So this
right.
bill makes it easier to place manufactured homes in certain areas by streamlining zoning and permitting. Why was this an important bill for Kentucky?
Well, it's an important bill because, well, let me start in the beginning with it. This bill came out of the Housing Task Force. And what they found is there were about 200,000 starter home type units short across the state. Um, Manufactured homes are not only more reasonably priced as far as their construction, but they go up quicker than stick built houses.
Mhm.
And so the task force felt that this would be a possible solution or at least a tool in the toolbox to alleviate some of that shortage. Now, Woodford County, for sales specifically, um, went into this about a year ago. We had the uh, ribbon cutting on the house about a month ago, with it being completed and gone through the process. But what they did is they took a small, odd size lot and was able to put this house on. Really, other than it being new looking, it looks no different than the other houses on the street. And they were able to put somebody in that house that needed some assistance, wasn't going to be able to get a regular house on their own. So there were some government subsidies in there for that, but they got somebody under roof that needed a house and in a reasonable manner.
And I'll say this from an appraisal standpoint and just real estate standpoint. I honestly I've seen some of the manufactured homes over the last probably 3 to 5 years, and the interior quality of these things have really, really taken a step up from what you would see in, say, a 10 or 15-year-old typical double wide manufactured home. They're super nice. I mean, I honestly sometimes you walk in and you can't even tell the difference except just by knowing the fact that it was a manufactured home. Um, So, how do you see House Bill 160 impacting housing affordability and options, especially in more rural areas?
I think it helps all the way around. I was a general contractor for 34 years, and I have stick built homes and additions and done all of that. And I really like what I see in these manufactured homes. There were some good ones years ago. First ones I came in contact with were in the late 70s. But most of what we were looking at it with manufactured homes were the quote house trailer type, had a 2 by 2 wall, and they were poorly insulated, poorly built. These homes are, most of them have got 2 by 6 outside walls.
Yep.
They're set on a foundation just like any other home. Um, the biggest thing I can say against them is that all the corners are square and the walls are plumb. You don't get that in a stick built house.
No, no,
They're,
I tried
they're
telling my wife that too. I was like,
yeah,
whenever
they
we
are
remodel
exceptional,
something,
right? But when they build these things in a factory type setting, they know what they need. They know whatever cut of every piece of wood's going to be, and the waste is almost no waste at all. Um, Whereas in a stick build out on a job site, you're wasting a lot of wood and a lot of materials
Mhm.
because just because of the situation that you're in.
Right. Well, and
But yeah,
they're usually building these inside so they can reuse some of that scrap for whatever they
well,
need.
that's
You know what
it.
I'm saying?
If you cut 2 foot off a 2 by 4 to use it as a brace, that other 6 foot's probably going to go in the trash.
Mhm.
In a factory setting, they know what braces they need. They can cut 4 of them out of an 8 foot 2 by 4, and they don't
Right.
waste anything, you know. But as far as rural America and across the state of Kentucky, it gives us another tool to get homes in the hands of homeowners. These things can fit on some smaller, odd shaped lots that you may not have been able to build a stick foot house on, and it just helps these communities
Affordable housing,
afford,
really.
with affordable housing. Right,
Yeah, and you brought up something too, the 2 by 6 construction a lot of times, and that's to help it when they're moving it in. It helps stabilize it.
right.
But when you consider that versus a 2 by 4 construction, I mean, you're getting a stronger exterior wall. I mean, and
Well, and you're getting more insulation in that
yeah,
wall.
yeah.
And with the cost of energy, whether it be gas or electric or what have you, that's going to be huge over the life of that home.
All right. So, from your perspective, how is the current housing market in Franklin County compared to the rest of your district?
I'm going to have to plead a little bit of ignorance there. As far as I know, it's steady. I haven't heard anything different. But I do believe we would benefit if we had a little bit of a decrease in our interest rates, bring them down a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, I think it's healthy. It's
Yeah,
healthy.
and your part of Franklin County is largely rural. Um,
It
uh,
is all county, yes, sir.
you got a lot of farm. I guess maybe you have a few districts kind of on East Main. Maybe is that right?
Couple of streets there, but most of it is rural land. Now there are some subdivisions there, but they're small and sparsely positioned.
What other housing or property related legislation do you think our listeners should be watching for in any upcoming session, or are you aware of anything right now?
Well, I'm the vice chair of the House Ag Committee, and we're working on some issues with keeping farmers on the farm and keeping ag land in the hands of young farmers that keep it in production. So you're going to see some things along that line. Our agenda for our September meeting will actually be talking about some eminent domain issues. So we will probably be taking some of that up. Um, but I'm not aware of anything to do with buyer, seller, that sort of thing. at this time.
Yeah. The National or the Kentucky Realtors Association will let us all know, I'm sure, as soon as they
Well,
they're a pretty big
you know,
lobby.
we have been well connected and whatnot. I love my realtors, and they normally come to me when they need something, so I'm happy to help them.
So this isn't on my questions, but it's kind of got me thinking. Usually there's a liaison between the Kentucky Realtors and the legislators. Is that, I mean, am I allowed to ask who yours is, or I don't know. I'm just curious.
Yeah, caught me on a blank. One of those senior moments. Um, Karen Mundy
Oh,
is the lady that I normally deal with.
yeah, she's out of
Sorry, I had
Fayette
a
County. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
We've known each other for years and get along good. So she, I guess, volunteered to talk to me. I don't know, but
Yeah, I don't, I do, is it only one per, is it one per legislator or they have more than one legislator?
I don't know. I can't answer that. I know I hear from different people from the association from time to time,
Gotcha.
depending on what they need. But she's my contact of record, if you will.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She's been around a while. Um, so with your background in business and agriculture, how do you approach balancing development and preserving community character?
That's a tough question.
It is.
Um, you know, well, I don't know. Community character is a tough concept. Most places want to keep that small town look, or
Mm,
they're the big city and they want to continue acting as a big city. Um, but what we've got to keep in mind is that uh, we've got to grow. I don't care what the community is. And it's up to our local communities to decide what that growth looks like.
mm,
Um, but the idea of zero growth just doesn't work.
no,
And we have to balance our growth with the smart use of our land. We're losing about 9 acres a day in Kentucky to development of some sort. Nationally, I think the number one culprit in gobbling up production farmland is actually the 5 and 10 acre kind of lots over top of a city setting or a subdivision kind of use. Um, but we've got to learn to balance that, and that's a question that can only be answered by the local communities.
so that's actually a 9 acres a day. That's I mean, you think about it in terms of one day or one time. That's not a lot, but I mean that adds up. And I mean, if you're splitting
And it
nine
does.
acres, you
Yeah,
could fit 75 houses on 9 acres, and depending on the where it's at. I
right,
mean,
right.
and you said earlier, was it 200,000 houses were
That's what the
based on the
task
survey
force. That's what the
across
task
Kentucky?
force came up with. Yeah.
Wow. All right, so we're done with the tough questions. So when you're not at the working at the Capitol, what is one local spot or event in Franklin County you'd recommend to our listeners?
Mm, love pizza. I don't know. My quiet time, I like to sit right down here behind the Capitol on the river fishing. Is
Oh
where I
yeah,
like to go.
yeah.
You know, um, there's I don't know. I don't get a lot of downtime that I'm not in the Capitol. I was here yesterday on Sunday afternoon,
Oh yeah.
so it's always something.
I'm not gonna, get into the political side of anything, but I know you guys are technically part-time, but it's never really part-time. And you
Uh,
guys, all of you, no matter what side of the aisle, I'm sure you're working a lot more for very little. And people don't, uh, don't really think about it in those terms. You guys don't make great money.
Well, I jokingly say it's the best 60-hour a week part-time job I ever had, you
Right.
know. But yeah, it'll keep you busy.
All right. So, last question here. What's something about you that most people might not know?
I don't know. I'm pretty much an open book. Um, I love my family. I'm very tied to my church and my God. I absolutely love helping people out. That's why this is such a great fit for me as a state rep, as I can serve the people of the community. And um, I don't know.
Well, Representative Pfister, thank you for joining us today and sharing your insight on these important bills. It's clear that House Bill 233 and House Bill 160 could have a real impact on the way Kentuckians buy, sell, or build homes. We appreciate your work and your time today, and we'll be watching closely as these changes take effect across the state. For our listeners, if you missed our earlier interview with Representative Tipton on the same topics, you can catch that in our Anderson County episode. Now let's get back to the Franklin County market update. Welcome back, and I hope you found that discussion with Representative Fester as insightful as I did. Now let's get into this week's real estate tip and look at what's happening around Franklin County. The real estate tip of the week: if you're selling your home, preparation doesn't stop once you have a signed contract. It's just as important to be ready for the appraisal. Before the appraiser arrives, make sure the property is clean, well lit, and easy to navigate. Replace any burned out light bulbs, check that all utilities are on, and have documentation ready for recent upgrades or major repairs, including receipts or contractor invoices. If you've made improvements that aren't obvious, such as new insulation or upgraded wiring, point them out. Small details can help the appraiser see the full value of your home and reduce the chances of surprises that could delay or derail the closing. So, what's happening in Franklin County this week? South Frankfort Food Share Dolly Graham Park Shelter ongoing through August 26th. Every Friday from 3 to 8, the South Frankfort Food Share provides free groceries to those in need. Bring a bag, tell a friend, and help spread the word to support the community members. The Friends of the Paul Sawyer Public Library book sale starts Wednesday, August 13th from 10 to 6. Browse a huge selection of gently used books at great prices. Proceeds benefit the library's programs and events, perfect for book lovers and bargain hunters alike. This week's featured listing is 116 Wellington Lane here in Frankfort. Listing price of $679,000, 3 beds, 2.5 baths, 2,770 square feet on 1.5 acres. This custom-built luxury ranch by Turner Custom Homes, built in 2023, offers all one-level living with nearly 2,800 square feet of thoughtfully designed space. Located just minutes from I-64, it's the perfect blend of privacy and convenience for those commuting to Frankfort, Lawrenceburg, or Shelbyville. Inside, you'll find solid maple cabinetry with soft closed drawers, quartz countertops, a chef's kitchen with stainless appliances, and a large walk-in pantry, plus soaring vaulted ceilings with exposed LVL beams, double tray ceilings in the primary suite, and extensive crown molding. Energy efficient upgrades include low E Pella windows, high efficiency 20-SEER HVAC, insulated ductwork, and core PVC drain pipes. Extras like a propane fireplace, recessed lighting, custom fixtures, the vent security system, and rear concrete patio make this home move-in ready. With luxury finishes, prime location, and exceptional craftsmanship, this one checks all the boxes. This one is listed by me, Kaylin Studler, and you can reach me at 502-320-1397. Thanks for tuning in to this week's update. Next week, we'll take a closer look at the real estate market in Anderson County. If you're thinking about buying or selling in Central Kentucky, visit transactionbroker.com to connect with a local expert and explore your options. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, and listen on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, or Amazon Podcasts. We've got interviews coming soon with loan officers, agents, elected leaders, and local housing experts. So make sure you're subscribed and ready. And if you're watching on YouTube or the Frankfort Plant Board Leased Access Channel 20, stay tuned right after this for a showcase of some of our featured listings. I'm Kalen Studler, broker at transactionbroker.com, and I'll see you next Wednesday.